Folks, welcome in to sportsbookreview.com. It's time for NFL action week 13. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Kyle Purviance. We are sportsbookreview.com, and this action-packed 1 hour show, as we like to say, Kyle, designed to get you ready for 1 o'clock action. Let's do this, brother.
Oh, week 13. I'm feeling way better. Got the morning orange juice cocktail this morning. We're ready to rock and roll. Good morning to everyone. Thanks for coming in, and it's crazy to see that subscriber total go up. I know you're going to talk about that. Unbelievable. Excited for week 13. Next week, fantasy football playoffs. Let's rock and roll. A lot of good spots today. I'm excited for week 13.
Kyle knows me very well because, yes, we are going to talk about 75,700 people subscribing to our YouTube channel. We do thank you guys for that. If you haven't done so yet, that button is still red. Click on it, flip it to gray, turn that notification bell on. Whenever we go live on this channel to talk a little NFL action, you will get it delivered directly to your inbox, and you can come on here and say hello. T. Mustafa, Emza, Daniel, Ostino, Larry, Jonathan, Jose, Connor, Akbar, 40 Bix. We are ready to get it popping and get after it. And it's kind of sad though. Like, it doesn't. I was just saying week 1, 2, 3, 4. Kyle, I'm saying week 13 now. What happened here?
I mean, Christmas is less than 3 weeks away. Like, shit is getting real. It is. It really is. It's crazy. Time flies, man. NFL season always flies by, and then it's that long lull until we get there. But man. Week 13, playoff picture coming in. I like this week. I like a lot of spots this week. I feel good about this week. Some chalky plays, got some parlays going on with that because there are some chalky plays here, but a few spots where I see the dog cover. And week 13, we got another month and a half, and then we're gone for 6 months.
As we like to say here, my prediction for week 13, pain, and that's what we're going to give to you today. Last week, I had 3 plays on the show. 2 of the side plays hit fairly easily. The third was an absolute pain play. And as I like to say, Kyle, a double compound fracture, which I ended up with last week when the Denver Broncos team total over 9.5 only got 3. So that was a lot of fun. I know Kyle had some pain on the Jets team total last week. I like to find some of those ones where sometimes you got to sweat it out. Like, I can't believe he just picked that. But the sweet satisfaction, Kyle, of those type of games winning is what we live for. So let's get after it today, because if you want some pain, go ahead and take it today. 451, 452 in the Windy City. It's going to be Mitchell Trubisky getting the start once again versus Matthew Stafford. And I see the reports come out. And I see Chicago open up 4.5, Kyle. Now I look at it. I was even looking a little bit earlier today before the show started at -2.5 at some outlets here, over under at 44. I'm trying to get my head wrapped around this. So we had a fired head coach, a fired GM, a quarterback who basically on his throwing hands, thumb needs to be amputated. His best wide receiver is down. An injury-riddled offensive wide receiver package here with Danny Amendola. Who knows how long he's going to last here. We're cutting wide receivers midweek. We're using Mohamed Sanu. The defense flat out stinks. Chicago thinks it can still make a playoff spot. Is the only reason why this line showed at 2.5 and 3 is because the bet is, hey, Mitchell Trubisky stinks. You get what you pay for here.
Yeah, that's what it is. And real quick, good morning, Mother. Yes, I am feeling better. Thanks for checking on me here in the show. But listen, Mitch Trubisky, he stinks. There is one team that he plays really well against, and that team is the Detroit Lions. And you're right. So you have the Lions. They're like, listen, we're going to cut Marvin Hall, fairly young guy, probably their most explosive receiver outside of Kenny Golladay, who won't be there. I know Marvin Jones, but I'm not really a big Marvin Jones guy, because we want to look at the younger guys. Well, now you're going to be playing Mohamed Sanu, who's like 475 years old. The Bears, all the weapons for the Bears are going to be there today. Allen Robinson showed up on the injury report. He's going to play. Darnell Mooney will be there. David Montgomery's back. You've got injuries in the secondary for Detroit. Look, early in the week when this dropped, I was like, oh, I can't wait to take Detroit with DeAndre Swift and Golladay, etc. Neither one of those guys are playing, so I get it. Mitchell Trubisky is a dumpster fire, and it's scarier than hell to bet on Mitchell Trubisky. But I'm doing it this week. I actually feel really good about it. It's part of a lot of my parlays, part of a lot of my straight picks. I like Chicago here. I just don't see where the offense comes from the Detroit Lions. We saw them struggle on Thanksgiving Day against the Houston Texans defense. The Texans defense is astronomically worse than the Chicago Bears defense. I don't know where the points come from for Detroit today. I got the Bears -3, and I think it's actually pretty easy, as weird as that is to say, with the Mitchell Trubisky-led team.
Yeah, then that's the whole issue because everybody watches this chat box. Kyle, you know me. I can't stand the guy. He's not a competent quarterback. And now you're trying to bet him in a favored position, which means if he wins by a field goal, you still don't cover the spread. He's probably going to have to win by a touchdown. But your point is valid here. It's not so much me looking at the Chicago offense. I think the offensive line for Chicago can be competent. Their wide receivers are playing despite some, questionability late in the week. Those guys are a go. Montgomery looks like he's back to full health here, and that's going to be a boon for Mitchell Trubisky because if he can hand the football off and gain 6 to 7 yards and stay ahead of the sticks, that always helps you out as opposed to Mitchell Trubisky in constant second 11s when we saw Cordell Patterson, as your primary tailback at this point. Again, Chicago should win this football game, right? Again, the only reason we're betting Detroit is just to be completely contrarian and say, hey, fade Chicago, fade Mitchell Trubisky. I understand that. I do think this game does play technically still to an over 44 because I think the Chicago Bears can get into the 20s. Matthew Stafford is a boomer bust quarterback. He's not going to go down in the pocket throwing 17 passes today and dumping everything off. He's still going to take some shots downfield to who? I don't know. But if you have a defense that can rush the passer, which Chicago can do, I think Mitchell Trubisky opens it up because you can get turnovers both good and bad. It's a tough game that if I have to pick it, I'm still going super square with the Bears because I just can't take an injured team that quit, even though they changed the head football coach, and you might get some energy as we've seen, like, for instance, the Atlanta Falcons have done. They're just a completely different organization, though. I can't trust Detroit in this spot. I think the Bears win. That's why I have to take the 3 here.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll actually go the other way. I'll take the under in this game. I don't know that Detroit gets over 10 points in this game. I just don't know how they're going to score. They're going to have no trouble covering them on the perimeter. They don't have any other running backs. So it's Kerryon Johnson and Adrian Peterson. That is not and listen, everyone in the chat box, I get it. The teams have looked better. Houston, Atlanta, thank you very much. Looked better after firing their coach and replacing him. They replaced him with Darren Bevel. And then Darren Bevel's like, oh, I want to audition to be the coach and all this. And then he's really there. I just don't understand the organization. Absolute dumpster fire. Get it at 2.5. I love that. I don't mind buying that point and taking away the field goal. But I really feel this is like a 23-10, 24-10 Chicago. I just don't see offense for the Lions. I think it's going to be a long day. Now, if I'm watching Red Zone in these 1 o'clock, 10 o'clock games, and I see a bunch of the Lions and the Bears on the screen, I'm going to feel like an idiot, and that those sorts of things happen, and we'll just delete the tapes. But right now, I just don't see the offense for the Lions. I got to take the Bears, and I like the under.
Take it on the chat box here. Eric Swells just got it at 2.5. Hank Hughes says Lions first half could be a good look. He doesn't know. I'm not betting it. It's again, there's a lot better games on the board, but it's always interesting to me to see that divide of why people like a certain game. And you just see, those sharp reports come out and say, hey, we really like Detroit. And I'm just like, dome team going outdoors, basically a shot football team. Okay, we like them. I get it. I guess it's buying at the extreme low portion, like at the beginning of the pandemic, like you just bought stocks just because this stock is $1. It should be 25. I'm just going to buy it and see what happens because if it loses, I don't lose that much. But if it gains, it's a big win. We'll see what happens in that game. But let's keep moving here. One of the games we did keep an eye on because we really thought maybe a quarterback change was not going to take place today, that's 453, 454, Cincinnati and Miami down in South Beach. Nice weather for this football game. We saw it open up around that 11 number because last week you saw the Miami Dolphins competent on offense, put away the New York Jets. When Ryan Fitzpatrick is back there, you know what you're going to get. Devontae Parker's engaged, Gesicki's engaged. You even thought some of the running backs would come back. Now, they had a lot of injuries and illnesses, but your main running back, Myles Gaskin, is going to play today. And typically in the NFL, they don't just activate you at running back just to hang out. When you get activated, you're ready to play. And I expect him to be heavily involved in this offense. But as we say that, you get Allen still a quarterback for Cincinnati. Tua Tagovailoa on the other side is going to start over Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now you see the buyback here, Kyle. The 11s and the 10.5s now turning into 10s. I completely agree with that. Over under at 43 seems about right as well. When you saw last week with Cincinnati, really didn't operate all that well against the Giants football team. That's okay on defense. I do think the Miami defense is better than the Giants defense. And I don't think you're going to get a great performance out of Cincinnati, which means if you're the Miami Dolphins, to me, Kyle, Tua Tagovailoa is coming back. Hey, kid, don't make mistakes. Let's see one of those games we had against the Rams where you threw for like 100 or 90 yards. You just kept the chains moving. We're going to have a lead in this game. Let's not blow it. We'll be able to put Cincinnati away. I can't take Miami with Tua at 10. If it's 10 with Ryan Fitzpatrick, I might be a little bit more involved, but also looking at team totals and overs. The minute I see Tua go in there, you know what I think of, Kyle? 250 yards of offense, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm looking at a team total of 27.5 for Miami. Like, I smashed that under button on that. I took the under in this game. You're absolutely right. There's no reason to bet Cincinnati, but there's also no reason to bet the Dolphins as double-digit favorites with Tua, who has, I mean, look, Tua's competent. He's going to be very good later on in his career, but right now he's just not there yet. Now, maybe he proves me wrong and goes out there and has this explosive game. We sort of saw signs of that against Arizona. But right now, for me, the play is the under. Really, I wouldn't put a ton of stake in this game. The real bet is taking that under Dolphins team total. I don't think they get to 28. I think this game plays sort of similar to that Detroit-Chicago game, a 23-10, a 20-10 type of game. Not confident enough in the Miami offense with Tua to take them by double digits. I took the under here. I did make Miami. Someone asked about this in the chat, in the comment section for my last video. I did take Miami as a money line parlay piece, one of those spread out money parlays where you're trying to turn a little into a lot. I think Miami is just fine if you're looking to make it a parlay piece on the money line, but there's no way I'm trusting them by 10.5. No way.
No, I can't do it. I'm on the same wavelength. Should Miami win the football? Absolutely. Miami is a much better coach football team. Miami has a more legitimate defense because, the Cincinnati defense doesn't offer that much in the way of resistance. But again, is Tua Tagovailoa running play action and whipping the ball 40 yards downfield to Devontae Parker in one-on-one coverage? No, he's probably going to dump it off to the running back, keep the chains moving. That clock moves. Don't make the mistakes, kid. You're a rookie. All we need to do is put up the W. Doesn't matter how we get there. That's the concept I believe the Miami Dolphins are going to operate under. 10 is a little bit too much for me for a rookie in this one. And Akbar is saying Bengals team total is big pain. That is pain that I can't even sign up for the Cincinnati Bengals. And you guys follow me on Twitter. You saw me put the tweet out. The 13.5 with the meme. And it's just like it's so low, but then I look at that offense and say, yeah, they have weapons. But if you watch the Giants game last week, they barely moved the football, Kyle. Like you could have operated under center, did exactly the same thing that Cincinnati did. Hey, but look, they were in the game late. They also had a 103-yard kick return in that game. You have to keep in mind as well. Right. So I'm out on that type of pain. I do like pain. That pain is a little bit too much. 455, 456, Indianapolis and Houston. Phillip Rivers, we see, the toe injury. He's going to have surgery in the offseason. Hey, look, if this was Lamar Jackson or if this was Kyler Murray and say, hey, man, he's got a really bad foot, I'm like, yo, that's going to cut into it. If Phillip Rivers moves more than 3 feet to his left or right during a football game, that's a lot of movement. This game is going to be one here in the trenches. You're going to get Kelly back at center. You're down Costanzo at left tackle, but this isn't a great pass rush or a great defense by any means from the Houston Texans. My moniker, I should get a tattoo or a T-shirt. If Phillip Rivers is in a dome, sign me up for that offense. And again, Kyle, sharp money coming in. Look at this. We want Houston. Let me get this straight. Like we saw Houston put a competent performance up against the Detroit Lions, who were completely inept and injured in that game on Thanksgiving. So now we're supposed to parlay that into now they're going to make some sort of run here. But, let's take their only cornerback away and suspend him because he used, performance-enhancing drugs. And let's go down 2 wide receivers from either releasing them or taking some substances that you can't take in the NFL as well and say, the defense is getting healthy on Indianapolis. Sure, I love Deshaun Watson. Sign me up. I can't do it. Indianapolis for me, man.
Oh, yeah, it's Indianapolis. And I got some the Houston receiving. So outside of Brandon Cooks, now we're talking Kiki QT and Justin something or other. I can't even remember the guy's damn name.
But wait, David Johnson is back. Oh, my God.
You're not running the ball. Yeah, you're not running the ball on this team. The Colts should blow out Houston here. Yeah. I love Deshaun Watson. I think he's a great player. I think he needs to do everything he possibly can to get the hell out of Houston. That's a horrible organization. The Colts defense better. The Colts offense better. Phillip Rivers was battling this toe issue last week as well. Didn't seem to bother him. He's actually been on a pretty good roll. Just to touch real quick on the Cincinnati-Miami game as well. Myles Gaskin at 5,900 on DraftKings should see a ton of work this week. No Matt Breida, no Ahmed Solomon. So
yeah.
You know what I'm saying here. So it's just Myles Gaskin and Patrick Laird. So I do like Myles Gaskin. But yeah, the play here is the Colts. Houston has no one on the outside that can deal with Pittman or T.Y. Hilton. They have 3 running backs. Houston cannot stop the run. They also cannot run the football, David Johnson or not. The Colts defense is healthy. I know they're down the offensive tackle. Not a good pass rush in Houston, as you touched on. I like the Colts here. I think the line is too short. I think it's been too short all week. I like the Colts here. I think it gets done easily. One of my favorite spots in the early morning is the Colts here over Houston.
And by the way, going back to a previous game, also B-Rad, which is a great name there, says 8 rookies on defense. The Panthers shut out Detroit.
Exactly.
You're right about that. So, but again, it's a team that doesn't operate, stinks, fires everybody, and gets injured. That's where people want their money on, specifically the best bettors in the world. So we'll see how that turns out as I talk all this slander here, and Detroit's up 14-3 at the half.
It's already jinxed. It's totally jinxed. The Colts and Detroit jinxed. They're going to be down 21-0 at the half, and we'll have to erase this tapes and apply for a new job.
Yep. By the way, over under in that Houston game opened up in that 53 range. We're now seeing 50s across the board. I think we get points because I think Indianapolis is going to push that high 20 like they do every week. It's almost amazing because you think of the Indianapolis Colts, you would think of that Phillip Rivers Chargers offense, I always call it, 3 passes and a cloud of dust because it's 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, 8 yards first down, 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, crossing routes all over the place. Keenan Allen gets 37 looks. But now with this offense, you have that really good offensive line. You have 3 capable running backs now in that motion. A healthy T.Y. Hilton looks like he's woken up. You got Pascal, you got some of those young rookies there, Pittman, making their moves. They score routinely here, Kyle. Unless you're playing outdoors or a really good defense, 20s, 30s, maybe even close to 40 points here. We'll see if it gets there because I do think Houston's going to make plays. Deshaun Watson is that good where he can avoid the pass rush. He can hang outside the pocket, throw some balls deep. It just don't have that Will Fuller effect. I don't buy that this game is going under because of the Indianapolis Colts. I think they'll push the issue, and I think Houston has no choice but to counter. That line sits at 50 at most outlets here. I'm going to go over 50 in this game as well. Let's talk a little bit of football action now. 457, 458 heading up to Minnesota. Do we have to worry about weather in this one? Nope. Minnesota. I'm sure it's pretty cold today in Minneapolis. Doesn't matter. Sitting in a dome. Oh, yeah, that crowd is really loud inside US Bank Stadium. Nope, nobody's there. Not a single soul. So Mike Glennon reemerges. But how about this, Kyle? After we saw the competent performance last week out of Mike Glennon against the Cleveland Browns defense, who isn't that good? You could probably say, comparable defenses here, Cleveland to Minnesota. Now he gets his other 2 starting wide receivers back. Because remember, last week, he had no DJ Chark and no Connolly. They are both active and ready to go today, along with Laviska Shenault and a really good running back in the backfield, young kid in Robinson. The offensive line has been competent. Glennon's been competent. The one thing I know about this game, Minnesota is going to score points. Who cares if Madison is out? That just means we're going to eat more with Dalvin Cook. And if he's healthy, more touches for him in a dome against a really bad defense, you should be able to press the issue. And also keep in mind, last week, still getting 28 points in the dome without Adam Thielen. Thielen is back in this football game. I think we get some points in this one. I like over 51 as well because I think Jacksonville is going to be, as I said, Kyle, a competent offense, and Minnesota's going to score. I think Jacksonville can answer. I think Jacksonville can win the game, put up 35 points and beat them 35-31. No, I don't. But when you take a look at a game like this, there's no reason to believe 28-24 isn't on the table and you cash that total.
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, I took the Cowboys as a live dog against Minnesota. Everyone thought I was crazy. I think Jacksonville's a live dog here. Now, the problem is, how eager are they to win? Because they don't want to ruin their chances at Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. Obviously, they need a quarterback of the future. So that's the concern here. But I completely agree. I think there's points in this game. I took the over 51. I actually think the 10.5 is too big of a line. I like Minnesota's offense against this bad defense. The Jacksonville secondary is beat up, and even when they're healthy, they're not very good. Now there's the Luke Barkus and Chris Herndons of the world. But I do think Jacksonville puts up points. Minnesota's another one of those teams. The only way that I bet them was I took some, I got 20 cents, an extra 20 cents by adding them to a money line parlay, something like that. But I do think Jacksonville has a great chance of covering here. And if they are committed to win, I do think Jacksonville is a live dog. I'm not that big on the Vikings. That defense is not very good. By the way, guys, don't make me hit up Flash and tell him to come in here and yell at you for not hitting the thumbs up button. Hit that like button for it so that he'll come in here and he'll yell at you and everyone will be mad. Do us a favor, hit the like button. We appreciate you all being here. But, I think Jacksonville covers here. I'm not big on the Vikings as double-digit favorites. They're just not a double-digit favorite team. And we've seen Jacksonville put up honest efforts against good teams. We saw it early in the year with Minshew against the Colts. We saw it just a few weeks ago in Green Bay and Lambeau. They were big-time underdogs there, lost by only 4.
That was with a rookie quarterback, too.
That was with Jake Luton as well. Mike Glennon looks competent. He obviously works out. That's kind of a joke for us on Twitter. I actually think Jacksonville covers in this game. I like the over 51. I feel a lot better about the over 51 in this game than I do about the Colts-Houston game. That one feels a little greasier to me. I like Jacksonville to cover, but Minnesota wins, and I like the over 51 more than everything else in this game.
Yeah, because when you take a look back, you can't really spin back to like September and say, well, here's how they performed and did this. I like to take a look at like that last month and a half, because when you take a look at a competent offense, and you do have to keep in mind that the offenses do change because they've had 3 different quarterbacks this year. When you take a look at the Chargers game, they scored 29 and lost. When they played Houston, scored 25 and lost. And that was also those games playing through the Houston game, particularly with Minshew still in the game, had that broken thumb, which they're allowed to get away with and not report, which is ridiculous on the injury report. They were still able to put up 25 in that game. They go to Green Bay with a rookie quarterback, still put up 20 points and are competent. Now, the bottom falls out against probably the number 1 defense in the NFL, Pittsburgh, 27-3. But then you go back to a average defense in Cleveland, and you get a veteran quarterback back in there, right back up to 25 points with a chance at the end of the game to actually convert a 2-point conversion and tie up the Cleveland Browns. I think they'll get some help today on the road. I do like points in this game. Minnesota at -10 is a little bit too much. Look, you're right. Jacksonville stinks. They're really not trying to win, but it looks like Doug Marrone has this team playing competently. They can't stop anybody on defense, but they should be able to answer the bell on offense and try to work through that. Mike Lennon, again, a veteran guy, not a rookie going the road like, God damn it, just make the right throw. He's been around the block. Is he going to be sensational? Probably not, but no reason to believe, Kyle, he can't throw for 252 scores today against Minnesota. I like that over. Let's head to the Meadowlands today. As you guys know, I'm in New Jersey, maybe 70 miles, 80 miles away from the Meadowlands in southern New Jersey. It's cold here today. It is a little bit windy, which usually is amplified in the Meadowlands, which down in that area tends to have some swirling winds. You're going to get the Raiders coming in here as a dome team from the West Coast. Hey, they practice outside in Las Vegas. Yeah, they practice in the summer at 112 degrees and no wind, probably out in Las Vegas also. And then what's the worst case scenario now? 65 degrees outdoors they practice. This is a dome team going to get a blast of cold air here. Should they be able to win this game? Absolutely. But if you were just looking at last week's performance of how they quit against the Atlanta Falcons, didn't even show up and got pasted, now we're led to believe they're going to bounce back, still being on the road on East Coast time, going into a dead environment in New Jersey in cold, windy conditions and being competent enough to win by double digits. The one thing you have on your side if you are the Las Vegas Raiders in this game versus the New York Jets, the Jets are not trying to win anything at this point, which is amazing to me that Adam Gase isn't just saying, look, let's make a last-ditch effort with Sam Darnold. Let's put some dime plays in here that we can strike up and really see him operate. It looks like they've just given up. They're going to give Frank Gore the ball 25 times today and say, well, let's just not get embarrassed and get out of here. The only reason I can't take the Jets is because the predicament they're in. We talked about it earlier this week, Kyle. And the game we just talked about, the Jacksonville Jaguars. If the Jaguars had 2 wins already, I'd be all over the Jets today because they're allowed to win a game. They can't win a game until Jacksonville wins their second here. So in a normal scenario, love the Jets today. The way real life works on how their organization is operating, I can't bet a team under 10 points that is not trying to win a football game. I cannot do it.
Yeah, God, this one's really tough. Again, people ask about it. This was another money line parlay for me because I trust the Raiders by more than a touchdown? I don't. Someone asked about prop bets game before. I like Adam Thielen over 4.5 catches. If you want to go to the plus money and go to 5.5 catches, I think he gets there as well. Really nice matchup against Luke Barku and Chris Herndon in that secondary for Jacksonville. Man, it's hard to trust the Raiders by more than a touchdown. If I'm going to bet a side and take the Raiders, I'm buying a couple points here and getting this under 7, under 6.5, because I do worry about some of the kicking conditions out there in the Meadowlands. It's one of the games. We have pretty good weather considering that it is December. Really only a couple games with some wind. That's about it. Some colder temperatures, but no rain, no snow, not a lot of wind. This is one of the games with the wind. And you do worry about the Raiders in bad weather. I do think they win this game, obviously, because the Jets have no desire to win or even look like they're trying to win, as you mentioned. But I don't know how I feel about the Raiders by more than a touchdown. That makes me really, really nervous. It's a complete pass for me. I probably lean the under in this game. I don't think either offense gets into those high 20s or 30s. If one's going to do it, it's going to be the Raiders. And will the Jets respond even against the bad Raiders defense? Raiders should bounce back. They were embarrassed last week. Made a lot of stupid plays, just did some bonehead things. It's not like Atlanta moved the ball up and down the field. They only had about 300 yards of offense or something like that, 305, something like that. Like the Raiders to win. I like the under. If I'm betting the side, I'm knocking down a couple of points and getting that thing under 6.5.
Yeah, a lot of guys in the chat box here out there on the Jets. And again, I said, I agree with you. I think the Jets is the right play, but when you have, a handicap that they're saying we can't win until Jacksonville wins, it sort of makes it tough because if you enter the game in the fourth quarter, and it's close, are they dialing up their best stuff to win a football game? Now, I know they're professionals and the players themselves are not tanking, but the overall mindset of the organization, and certainly Adam Gase is in there for one reason, Kyle. It's not to advance, Sam Darnold at this point or win a couple games. It's, hey, look, we're going to pay out the rest of the year. I'll put you solid in on the next team you want to go be a coordinator for if you still want to do that, and say, look, he rolled the line for me. He wanted to win football games. I told him we couldn't win games, and he went out and had some super vanilla type offense here to push through. That's the only thing I can think of. Now, also, when you're taking a look here, I do agree with the under 48 as a premise because, again, it's cold. The Jets aren't showing much. Frank Gore isn't giving you anything electric on the ground. Nothing electric is about that Jets offense. But the one thing I'll say this about the Raiders, the way you beat the Jets is not bullying their front seven, who have played fairly well and are graded out quite nice on that front four. You beat them in that trash secondary. So I do think the Raiders should be dialing up some deep balls. We'll see how it plays out. But the premise for me in this one is I do think the Raiders win the game. I don't think the Raiders are playing great football, but it just comes down to normally I would be all over the Jets in this spot. I just can't bet them when I know a team is trying to tank here. Let's keep moving. Right. About halfway through the show, guys. Thanks for tuning in. 400 people here live, 75,700 subscribers. If you miss anything during the week, specifically in NFL action, or even want to join our Pick Six contest, hit that link below, sbrpicks.com/NFL. Takes you right through to everything. You can have fun. Maybe you can't win that season-long package as we have, but you can certainly dip in to some of these weekly prizes that we do have. Let's go ahead, and this is an interesting game as well. This goes to show you why the NFL is much, much different than any league that you have on the planet when you're trying to cap games, because sometimes you scratch your head. A few weeks ago, we watched the New Orleans Saints sack Matt Ryan 8 to 9 times in a game, embarrass them and make them quit with Taysom Hill at quarterback. But the narrative now is Atlanta has seen Taysom Hill. We know how to stop Taysom Hill. It's just a bad football game from us on offense. Now we're at home because if you watch that last game, it was much worse than 24 to 9. The game felt like it was 50 to 9. So now we're led to believe Atlanta, who is playing better under Raheem Morris after firing Dan Quinn as head coach. But are we trusting it out? Julio looks like he's going to go, hey, Julio said Friday, I feel great, which it's always amazing to me. I'm tending to actually believe him this week, which is the insanity part of myself. Ridley is back. Maybe they saw that defense and said, look, we can't just get our butt kicked up front all game long. And it's a couple injuries here in the secondary for New Orleans. The offense should be better on Atlanta's side. But again, Kyle, I'm not saying, hey, take Atlanta getting 7 at home. It's 3. I've even seen 2.5 creep on the board. Is it a mirage, or are we like, you keep in mind last week, the Saints went into Denver, and yes, they played a backup quarterback or backup running back who was quarterback, but it wasn't 14 to 10. They annihilated Denver in Denver and said, we don't have to open our offense. Let's just run the football and kick their ass on defense, and we'll blow them out. Am I missing something here where we're trying to get ahead of the Saints? Because no team is playing better defensively than the Saints right now.
Yeah, it's really tough. And I'm going to say, I do think Atlanta is a live dog today. I do think they have a shot at home. I do not think that it's crazy. The landscaping's going well outside. It should be all done. The leaf blowers are gone. Thank you guys for all of that. I do think Atlanta's a live dog. I ended up staying away from this game. I wanted to hit the button on. I didn't even put them in a money line parlay. I actually did an underdog parlay where I took like an Atlanta, a Cleveland, Jacksonville. I think Atlanta has a shot to win this game, and you're absolutely right. No doubt about it. 2 weeks ago, we saw the Saints defense stymie the hell out of this Atlanta offense, and they certainly could do it again today. Now, if Julio Jones is fully healthy with Calvin Ridley, finally getting healthy, Todd Gurley's coming back for Atlanta. They're certainly on a roll. They looked really, even though their offense wasn't humming last week, anytime you beat a playoff team, the Raiders are probably going to be a playoff team, by 5 touchdowns, there's something to be said there. They're at home, a little bit of revenge on the mind. Spoiler, Taysom Hill yet to throw a touchdown pass as a quarterback. Now you adjust to sort of that running option that they're going to do. Earlier in the week, I was all over New Orleans. I still think New Orleans is the smart play, and they're the better football team, no doubt about it. But I think if you're looking for some value today and you're looking for a live dog, I think Atlanta is the way to go there if you're looking for some value.
And if you're looking at a really good defense here, the last 4 games for New Orleans Saints, let's rip this off. 3 points against Tampa Bay, 13 against San Francisco, 9 against Atlanta, 3 against Denver. So it's not as if it's going to be easy offense, which again leads me to my next thought here. That under 46, typically in a New Orleans Saints Atlanta Falcons game, get the hell, that should be 56. I look for a lot of ground and pound out of New Orleans with a really good defense. And Atlanta, even with Julio Jones back, they're not that big play bomb threat anymore with Matt Ryan at quarterback. And you don't think he's thinking about, hey, let me take a 7-step drop against this pass rush. He don't want any part of that. I like the under in that game. Let's keep going here. As we say, 465, 466, a 1 o'clock game, the last of the 1 o'clock games. This is a pretty good one. Cleveland and Tennessee, Baker Mayfield, Ryan Tannehill, SBRodds.com, showing about a 50-50 ticket split in this one. How about this line movement? Tennessee opens up at 5.5-point favorite early in the week, offshore Pinnacle. We're now 4s completely across the board. I have to say, I do agree with that line movement. 54s it opens up as a total, still 54s across the board, so anticipating some points. You know what the interesting part of this game is? Because you're looking at points in a different fashion. This is almost like more old school NFL. Both of these teams can run the hell out of the football with big, nasty offensive lines that should be able to overpower their counterparts. So usually when we look at a lot of points, Kyle, what is it? 5 wide out sets, throw the ball 55 times, clock stops, big plays, penalties downfield. This is completely opposite because when I look at the running backs here, who's stopping anybody, Kyle? Chubb should go over 100. You know, a part-time player in Kareem Hunt might get 50 to 60 yards. Are we saying King Henry is not going to get over 100 yards in this football game, being the focal point? I think it all adds up well. And keep in mind, that slot receiver that we talk about, the Cole Beasleys of the world that just moved the chains, Adam Humphrey's going to play today after a few-week absence. Jonnu Smith is down. Firkser should be able to step up and be competent, but this offense should move the football for Tennessee. Are we trying to overbuy here the Browns? Because the wins haven't been all that impressive that they've gotten. Even though they're 8-3, there's something to be said about that. Now we're trusting them to go on the road in Tennessee to possibly pick up a victory. I do think they're competent in this game. I do agree with the line movement, but I can't take them here unless we're getting those 6.5 points. I still like Tennessee in this game. I do.
Read my lips. The Cleveland Browns are a fraud. They are terrible. I love the comment by Vitalis. They're absolutely right. I know there's no wind. It's still cold. Baker Mayfield can't play if it's under 60 degrees. He's absolutely dreadful. The Tennessee Titans roll in this one. I took him at I'm bombed because I got some negative adjusted line value here. I took him at -5.5 early in the week. I think they win this game by double digits. The Cleveland Browns are a fraud. They've beaten nobody good. Anytime they play a good team, they get their ass handed to them. They don't look good when games get close. I think the Tennessee Titans win this game. I think they win it easily. Absolutely no faith in this Cleveland Browns team. Whoever the AFC team is that gets to play Cleveland in the first round of the playoffs this year is getting a gift. The Browns are a fraud. I'm sorry, Cleveland Browns fans. They're just not very good. I think Derrick Henry has a field day. No Denzel Ward in the secondary. A.J. Brown should be able to do what he wants. I like Tennessee. I think the line is too short. I disagree with the line movement. I think this should have went the other way to 8.5. I cannot stand this Cleveland Browns team. Total fraud. Worst 8-3 team in the league. Might be one of the worst 8-3 teams ever outside of that Packers team last year. I like the Tennessee Titans, and I like them easily today.
Crazy. Look at that. I mean, look, I have the haters hat on. I like it. So you signal the hate on the Browns, and the chat box is right behind you marching, with their torches out here. You got Titans will blow them out. Baker's a bum. Who have the Browns beat? If Cleveland wins today, I'll take them seriously. Emza agrees with you here. Henry is running with play all purpose. Here we go, man, right? So you got to get after it. And it's interesting because you do see usually when you have two teams that can really run it, it is an under type play, but I'm still hesitant on that underside because I do see some big plays out of the running game, but I'm just trusting overall Tennessee more. I trust Tannehill more than I do Baker. I can't say I trust the running game more because I love that Cleveland offensive line and Nick Chubb in the backfield, but I trust the wide receivers more with Tennessee. Jarvis Landry's a nice wide out, but outside of that, it's not a lot to love. So if you're dipping on those tight ends over the middle, and we are all expecting what? A Baker Mayfield, 1st and goal at the 6-yard line, throw it into double coverage in the end zone, interception. I think we can all pencil that into our playbook today. But as I said, I do agree with the line movement going lower, but it's just hard for me to take Cleveland on the road to pick up this victory. I think Tennessee's the better football team. I think they can win by a touchdown, and I think they'll be able to get that done here. Let's kick the 4 o'clock games out on the West Coast here. Seattle, 12th man screaming. Who's going to be able to go? Nobody goes in there, Kyle, with 60,000 screaming fans in Seattle. Oh, but now you go in there, and there's not a soul in that stadium. Banged up defense. Again, it seems like for the Seattle Seahawks, you lose a cornerback after the Philadelphia Eagles game. I believe it was Flowers that's now going to miss this game, as well as Carlos Dunlap, who gave that little inflection of attitude and a pass rush. Might miss this football game, hasn't practiced all week with a foot injury sustained against the Philadelphia Eagles. We do know Russ is going to cook. Russ should put up some points. Am I advocating here to go in here for a New York Giants victory with Colt McCoy? Absolutely not. But the one thing you can see up and down that roster for the Giants after your 49ers annihilated them is competent football. Every game they're in, every game they're around 20 points. The defense is playing solid. Again, Seattle's going to win this football game, and I would be utterly blown away if Colt McCoy goes into the Northwest and takes out Seattle. But Seattle playing on a short week, a little bit banged up, as I say, going back home. The Giants sort of playing with house money in this one, saying, hey, everybody in the NFC should lose today. NFC East should lose today anyway. Let's see what we can go out here and do on the field. I think you get a competent performance, and I see the 10.5s across the board. I'm going to take the Giants with the 10.5. How you feeling that?
I like that because I thought I was going to be only one on that pain one. Here's the thing. Seattle, much better team. Seattle, a terrible defense. Like you said, no screaming fans there. And Seattle doesn't win games by double digits. That's not what they do. They play every game they play is a close game. I mean, we even saw it. Somehow they were even able to let the Eagles cover, who couldn't do anything. Yes, the Giants are bad, but the Giants are not a terrible defense. And James Bradbury should be able to somewhat keep up with DK Metcalf on the outside. James Bradbury is not a bad shutdown corner. Do the Seahawks win? Absolutely. Do I have them part of that money line parlay? Absolutely. But I never take Russell Wilson-led teams by double digits because the fact of the matter is they don't cover by double digits. It's not what they do. I think the Giants offense can move the ball even with Colt McCoy. The Seattle defense is historically bad. So do I expect the Seahawks to win? I do. Do I think there's points in this game? I do. I think it goes over the 47. Yes, thank you, Jason. The Seattle defense is window lickers. I like the Giants to cover here as well. I'm surprised we're both on the same side of that. But the thing is, Seattle doesn't cover by double. I don't feel good about it. Now, if you're some reason just thinking, I got to take Seattle, then just talk yourself out of it and pass this game completely. The only real bet here is the Giants. You never take the Seahawks by double digits. They just don't play those type of games. So I'll take the Giants to cover as well. So there we go.
Yeah, remember we were letting Russ cook, and it was so much fun to watch. Opening game, 299 in the air, 275 second game, 295 third game, 343 fourth game, and we zip up here. We had some 372 against Arizona, 362 against Buffalo. Getting healthy at running back, realizing we can't let Russ cook all the time because we'll end up burning down the kitchen, and that's going to hurt us in the playoffs. Take a look at the last 3 weeks, Kyle. Against the Rams, 220 in the air. How about versus Arizona in the air? 182. How about in the Philadelphia Eagles game in the air? 225. So now you're looking at them saying, hey, we got our running backs. Let's go back to being a running football team, pick up victories. Then if we need to put Russ back in cook mode, he can do it in the playoffs. So you have a little bit of that. And also, if you're Pete Carroll and a mindset of the Seattle Seahawks, do you see how they operated last week, Kyle, against the Philadelphia Eagles? They could have put up 30-plus points in that game. But when you see the offense isn't able to answer like a prolific offense, like let's just say an Aaron Rodgers-led offense, or, when the Rams get cooking it sometimes, or just in Kansas City, for instance, you can go in and say, hey, let's run the football, move the chains. Let's run this clock out. We're going to beat this team. Let's just not make mistakes. That's what you see coming into this. So, again, when you say Seattle can win and blow them out, do they really need to? If they didn't cover against the Eagles last week, how hapless the Eagles were, the Giants are a much more competent operation right now, even with Colt McCoy, a quarterback. They'll hand off to Gallman. They have some decent wide receivers. I think the Giants play in this game, but again, Seattle Seahawks going to win this one. 4:05, the second game of the 4 o'clock hour before we get to the 4:25 primetime games. Rams, Arizona, Cardinals, Jared Goff, Kyler Murray lining up in this one. Opened up early week at -1.5, but we've yet to cross that 3 threshold. It's going up to 1.5, 2, 2.5, borderline, with that heavy juice, 115, 120s across the board. I still like the Rams in this game. I need Kyler Murray correct until he gets correct, which means he carries the ball 10-plus times in a game where you can't stop that offense. I'm going to lean on the Rams in this spot. Jalen Ramsey, if he does trail and go after Hopkins, that's a great way to try to neutralize or settle down that offense and let that front four get after it with Aaron Donald. I think it's a bounce-back performance here by Jared Goff. I think they go on the road with no fans. They're a dome team, the Rams. They should be able to operate and put up into the mid to high 20s. I think Arizona will try to chase them down, but it's not enough. They should be able to win this game by a field goal here or more.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to answer a question earlier, Kyle Kurtz, I like that money line parlay. Fire away, lock it in. I think all those teams win. I think that's a nice one there. Probably the one that'd make me the most nervous, oddly enough, is Green Bay over Philadelphia. For some reason, the Eagles seem to have the Packers number sometimes. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Getting onto this game, yeah, Arizona's secondary cannot stop the Rams passing game. They haven't been able to do it recently. When they play, they don't have a good secondary this year. Patrick Peterson is not the same shutdown corner that he's been. Murphy and Dre Kirkpatrick, not very good on the other side. Then you go to that Rams defense. And the Rams, the Steelers, Washington, the Rams have a very, very complete defense across the board. Maybe their linebackers are a little bit weak. That's the one question mark, but they're dominant up front. They probably have the best secondary in the league right now. I really like the Rams in this one. 2.5 just seems too short. Look, they got embarrassed by a division rival last week. As long as Jared Goff plays competent and can stop from turning the football over, I think the Rams win this one. 2.5 is a really nice number to get at. So it paid off to sort of wait, because I think I had it at 3 earlier in the week. I saw it at, I got a juiced up number. That's why I took it at 3. I took it at plus 108 at -3 just for the hell of it, because scared money doesn't make money. But I do think the Rams win this by more than a field goal. They're the better team. Kyler Murray's still a little bit banged up. Arizona's not going to be able to run the ball on that front seven. I like the Rams this week. I think they bounce back and beat Arizona in Arizona.
Hey, game of the day here. Alert, alert, alert. Green Bay, Wisconsin. No, I mean, maybe a couple hundred fans there for friends and family that'll be viewing this. And we here in Philadelphia wish that only a few hundred in Philadelphia could actually watch this game on TV. If we're expecting a bloodbath, it might be here. But I got to tell you, this line opened up at 9, quickly went up to 9.5 early in the week. But now you see the buyback coming in from the quote-unquote sharps. If there is a game where if you could look at two teams, the Eagles actually match up extremely well offensively against the Green Bay Packers. Not much of a pass rush, not a super athletic linebacking core. They do have a decent secondary, but if you commit to the running game, you can run at will and sort of bully the Green Bay Packers. My only question here is, what am I getting out of the Eagles in their offense? Zach Ertz looks like he's coming back. Like the gang is getting back together on offense, but still the incompetency of the offense runs through, because if you have an offensive line as bad as the Philadelphia Eagles have, timing is thrown off, which is everything in the NFL. If I'm expecting to be able to get rid of this football 3 seconds and these guys are hitting me at 2 seconds, nothing works, because even Kyle, when you get the time, your head is already saying, I'm not going to get the time. And you sort of rush those pass over guys that are open, dump it down in the flat when you have a 15-yard play right over the middle with a simple pitch and catch. You saw the game Monday night. The Eagles covered that game, and you scratch your head because, again, when we're handicappers, we're not talking about these games as if the Green Bay Packers should win this football game, absolutely. But now you're looking at 8, which translates into the same thing last week with Seattle, Kyle. Double-digit game, couple minutes left in the game. One team doesn't care. The other one's still trying to work on something. Therefore, the Eagles score, and it's going to be a push. I'm going to win my 6.5. The Eagles go, we got nothing to lose. Go for 2, and they run it in, which is so head-scratchingly maddening. If you had Seattle last week, you deserve that victory, but because, Kyle, they didn't care in the last 3 minutes, you ended up losing your bet. I would hate to get caught back in that because the Green Bay Packers defense does stink. Should the offense be able to move? Absolutely, they should. Keep in mind, Kyle, I'm going to ask you one question here. Who's the number 1 pass rush in the NFL?
It's the Philadelphia Eagles, and you're absolutely. And look, we talked about a fraud in the AFC and the Cleveland Browns. Let's talk about a fraud in the NFC, the Green Bay Packers, and they have been for 2 years. Look, do I think Green Bay wins? Yes. Right here in the chat, Green Bay is a teaser piece. Absolutely, it's a money line teaser piece, and I'm a little bit nervous about it. I'm telling you right now, for some reason, the Eagles seem to have Green Bay's number. I do not trust Green Bay by more than a touchdown. If Doug Peterson can pull his proverbial head out of his ass and run the football against this abysmal running defense, they even have a shot to win this game. I actually do think the Eagles, for some reason, are live dogs in this one. Now, I think Green Bay wins. That's the smart pick here. But I do think the Eagles cover 8. If you're going to bet Green Bay, you need to tease that down or take the money line, make it a part of a parlay. I'm not taking Green Bay by more than a touchdown against anybody. Listen, 2-3 weeks ago, they were double-digit favorites against Jake Luton and the Jacksonville Jaguars in cold weather in Lambeau
Rookie.
and
Yep.
barely won the game. They won by 4, and they had a chance to lose that game. Matt LaFleur is a complete moron. You'll see way more Jamal Williams than anyone should ever see in anyone's backfield, especially when you have Aaron Jones. I like the Eagles to cover here. If you're betting Green Bay, again, tease it down, money line it. No way I'm taking Green Bay by more than a touchdown.
And as I look on my list here of guys on DraftKings that are challenging around 3,000, the only thing going to hold me back from ultra pain is if Alshon Jeffrey somehow today ends up on the inactive list, which I don't think he will, because one of the Eagles Quez Watkins that might have been up, he's going to be out today due to sickness, illness, or trying to be extra safe in case these guys end up having COVID. Something to keep an eye on is maybe a red zone target. But as I said, you now have they're going to be smart with Zach Ertz, but now you have what you wanted to coming into the season, 2 elite tight ends that you can sort of get that pitch and catch game going, which he's missed with Zach Ertz being out. As much as we laugh about Zach Ertz catching the ball at 7 yards and falling down, at least he's open at 7 yards and making a catch and falling down, as opposed to anybody else on this Eagles offense. You'll even see a lot of 3 tight end sets with Richard Rodgers, who has probably been their best overall tight end over the past 5 weeks, which is amazing. So now we'll see if they commit to a little bit of running game. Jordan Howard also up on the team as an active participant today to try to get those short yardages here. Look, I'm reaching for ways that the Eagles can stick around, but I know I see it out here. Tyke Taffa says, you guys are all cracked. The Eagles stink. The Eagles were horrendous last week and covered a 6.5-point line. You have to remember that. That's what the whole name of the game is. It's not how much. So maybe you're saying, like I was saying all week here, Kyle, with the Green Bay game, you take the Packers in the first half at, minus 5.5 or 6 or whatever it is, figuring they're going to be up by 7, because if the Packers aren't up by 7 at the break, they're probably not going to cover as is. And at least, at the end of the first half, Kyle, ready? 1.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, Green Bay's up 5 points, right? Run the clock out, take a knee, you're out of here, you lose your spread. The Packers are up 5 points with 1.5 minutes in the football in the first half. You know what they're trying to do? Score a touchdown or get a field goal to cover that line for you. First half of football is true. The second half of football, you get what you get, because sometimes if that team doesn't want to play, they don't care that you're holding a ticket. I got to score. What's going on? They don't care about that stuff. So just some food for thought here on taking Green Bay. If they're up at the half by 7, they're probably going to win the game. If it's a 16, 17 game at the half, you're going to be in for a dogfight anyway on your -8 bet. Let's keep moving here before we run out of time and get to some best bets on the day. 425 game. 473, 474 out in the dome. Again, some nice weather. We didn't talk about the weather conditions in Green Bay. Usually it's really bad. You're talking about a beach day in Green Bay, Kyle. 33 degrees here with like 5-mile-an-hour winds. That's a beach day for December in Green Bay. Lucky to have it there. Let's keep moving here. Yeah. New England and the Chargers. The one thing that sticks out to me, Cam Newton stinks as a quarterback. Oh, yeah, and he's injured. So I say, where do I sign up and take New England if it's sharp money? It better not be, and I'm glad the line has moved. Opened up at -1. Now we sit 2s and some 2.5 out there as a favorite for the Chargers. On our Tuesday show, Kyle, I like the Chargers. On our Thursday show, I like the Chargers. On our Sunday show, I like the Chargers. It's simple to me. I have a really good quarterback on one side. I have a really electric running back on one side. I have some really good receivers on one side. The other side, I have a slow plodding quarterback that can't throw the ball 5 yards, looks like a shot put. I have running backs that gain 3 yards a carry and 0 at wide receiver. But we're going to just say Belichick's a genius. I'm going to go that route. I ain't doing it. I know the Chargers can't win games, but at least I know going into this, I have a chance to move the football on one side as opposed to the other side going, I hope we get this first down. Come on, I'm out of here. Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Chargers is the pick, and New England stinks, and the Chargers have the talent advantage across the board, except one place, and that's the head coach. Anthony Lynn is dreadful. He's absolutely moronic. No game management abilities whatsoever. So the Chargers are just not only playing against themselves, against their own head coach, but the other team. But I can't take New England. If this game was in Foxborough, I'd probably feel a little bit different. Me personally, I stayed the hell away from this game. Makes me a little bit too nervous. Look, if Anthony Lynn wasn't the coach, if it was the Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz as the coach, if it was a pumpkin that was carved with a candle lit in the middle as their coach, I would feel great about the Chargers. Anthony Lynn is dreadful. He's starting to make Mike McCarthy look like a Mensa member, but I have to be with you. I have to take the Chargers. More competent offense, better pass rush on defense, faster on the edges. The weakness of the Chargers this year has been that secondary hasn't been very good. How in the world does New England take advantage of that when they can't take advantage of any secondary? You saw them throw for 80 yards against a bad Cardinals secondary last week. I'm with you. Give me the Chargers.
And again, you're going up against, like, Josh McDaniels is a really good coordinator. And the one thing that always interests me with the New England Patriots, because we know Cam Newton's he's not going to be a Patriot next year. And I doubt Cam Newton starts anywhere in the NFL. So it's kind of odd when I look at New England this year. They're still trying to win football games and trying to put a competent product out there. But I also wonder why they don't go to Stidham. And it's not the fact that Stidham is even better than Cam Newton, which anything right now can be better than Cam Newton. But it's the fact that when you're an offensive coordinator, you have a playbook, right? And the playbook needs to operate for your offensive philosophy to function. When you have a guy like Cam Newton, like, you don't run your playbook. It's like a read option here. Let me just put everything I have into this 7-yard slant route that Cam Newton, like, he twists up like a tornado, like one of those cartoon guys, and unwinds and then throws the football. The whole offensive philosophy is debunked here for New England, and I just can't lean on saying we're going to run the football, keep it close, and do that stuff. You need offense specifically, and you're right. We're not in Foxborough where it could be 31 degrees, 20-mile-an-hour winds, and you can control the clock. You are in an empty aircraft carrier / plane hangar out there in Los Angeles. This young kid is going to be able to move the football in New England. You're not going to be able to stop and say, hey, we can't do it. They have an elite offense. They're going to come after New England. That's why I'm going to take them in this one. So, by the way, thoughts on 47 as a total, knowing New England wants no part of running up and down the field.
That's why you got to take the under on this. Now, the one concern is if, the Chargers get hot, and we've seen him get hot, and no one I'm not sure anyone in the league throws a better deep ball outside of Mahomes maybe than Justin Herbert. They can make big plays. Now, the secondary for New England is very good. Should be able to shut down those big plays for Mike Williams. So I would lean the under on this one, but it's sitting at about the right number for me, right? 47 seems about right, but I would lean the under just because I don't trust that New England offense, and I don't think Cam Newton can take advantage of anything. He might be the worst throwing quarterback in the NFL outside of Ben DiNucci.
You know what? I got to tell you right now, Kyle, if we got DiNucci on the road here for New England, that might be an upgrade in the passing game here. At least we get like 180 yards like he did against the Philadelphia Eagles. But you're right on par on that, because when you see, like, let's just say you're not watching a game, you're watching on the ticker, and they're on their own 35, New England's 3rd and 6. I'm already waiting for a punt, like the next screen to flip up. Cam Newton short, incomplete, and the flat punt. Like, I'm not expecting anything to go deep down the field and have a big play. We'll see how that game plays out. How about the night game tonight? 8:20 in Kansas City. Chilly weather again. But again, it's not so much the cold weather. Kansas City's used to being cold. I think Denver's used to being cold. They're both used to be outdoors. And there's not a lot of windy conditions here in Kansas City. And I don't care where Kansas City. We've done every game just about Kansas City. Nice weather, bad weather, rainy weather. They sit there in the 30s and they laugh. And I don't know how you stop the offense unless you have like a reincarnate extra of what San Francisco tried to do for 3.5 quarters in the Super Bowl. Outside of that, they do whatever they want. Mahomes runs around, buys time, throws sideways passes, 60-yard lasers downfield, and everybody's wide open with an unbelievable scheme by Andy Reid. I look at this 13.5, and yes, I do under the notion it's a division game, but I know how Drew Lock and that offense operates here. I would not be surprised if you are just like, forget about one of those games, Kyle, in the division where it's neck and neck all the way through. 33-30, 28-27, 28-24 in the fourth quarter. I'm not surprised that if you're betting Denver in this game, it's 28-10 in like the third quarter, and you're just begging for some semblance of a mercy drive by the Denver Broncos to get the cover. I would be surprised if Denver is hanging around in this football game going toe-to-toe, as opposed to maybe we can score 10 points with Denver in the last 6 minutes of the game because Kansas City isn't trying anymore. I don't want any piece of Denver in this game to cover that line, but anytime you see something around 50, if you're going to pencil in Kansas City for mid-30s, it's got a shot, man.
Oh, yeah, I'm taking that over. And you know why? Because I'm taking the pain, and I'm taking the Denver Broncos team total 17.5. I already put a full unit on that. That's right. I'm going for maximum pain now. I did get a nice bonus yesterday and hit a nice 6-pick parlay in MMA. So I kind of have some stuff to throw around there today, luckily for myself. But here's the thing. Kansas City has not been good this year covering these big spreads. They've been backdoored. Their defense is not very good. They are vulnerable in the secondary outside of Bashaud Breeland. They do struggle against the run. Denver has their full complement of offensive weapons. This week, Noah Fant is healthy. Lindsey's playing. Gordon, Tim Patrick, Judy. They're all going to be there. Drew Lock will be back. I think this goes over the total. I don't trust the Chiefs anymore by double digits because they simply get backdoored too many times. And they're willing to give up those points because they trust their offense so much. Do I think the Chiefs win? Absolutely. Did I take the extra, 10, 15 cents in a money line parlay because it's like minus, 950 or something like that on the money line. Sure, why the hell not? I threw it in there because I do think they win the game. But I think Denver puts up points tonight. I think they go over the 17.5. I like the total in the game, 51.5. I'm not touching that spread at 13 or 13.5. I'll let people with more balls than I do that.
All right, guys. Thank you, guys. 79 thumbs up. I wish we could get that at least to up over 100. Or me and Kyle might not be back on for week 14 of NFL action. So please help us out with some thumbs up out here. Over 450 people watching just about through the entire show. Still 400 hanging around. Let's get to some plays here now that we're 7 minutes outside of kickoff. I'm going to go with a 3-pack today, and it's a different year in the NFL. I usually love home teams, but there is no home field advantage whatsoever outside of if you're used to playing in cold weather. So I'm going to pick on a couple of games where Jacksonville might be not used to playing in cold weather. They're going in a dome. I'm going to take the 10.5 points here sitting at FanDuel on the Jacksonville Jaguars to go out and hang around. Even though their defense is horrendous, I think there's a good shot you can still get through the back door if you're looking for a late cover in that game. Also, I'm going to take a look at going with an under 46 in the New Orleans-Atlanta Falcons game. I think there's going to be a lot of rushing on New Orleans end, and also a nasty defensive performance on New Orleans defensive end going up against Atlanta. I look for more of the same. That not 24-9 is a final, but that's sort of high 30s, low 40s type of game. I'm going to cash that ticket in there. And also, I'm going to take this I hate the New York Giants with a passion, but they're getting 10.5. I think they will be competent, and there's no 12s in the stands, which means it will be nice and quiet where the Giants can operate and just be competent on offense and cover that 9. So I'm going with 2 doggies getting 10.5 on the road. I like it, baby.
I like that. Very, very nice. I am going to take Chicago. I'm going to go some pain. I'm going to have 2 out of my 3 picks are going to be some pain. Mitchell Trubisky, -3 over Detroit. I just don't see how Detroit scores today on that defense. I love the Colts today, -3. I think they beat the brakes off of Houston. In fact, I'll give you guys 4 because Cleveland is such a fraud. Give me those Tennessee Titans. I'm seeing that line move now to 3.5. Give me the Tennessee Titans. And for some real pain, Sunday Night Football, give me the over 17.5 team total for the Denver Broncos this week. Good luck. Thank you all very much for watching this week.
Absolutely. 109 thumbs up in the chat box. Thank you. Me and Kyle can now appear next Sunday here and certainly do our job and pay our bills here in the Christmas coming season. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Week 13 NFL action. Good luck on your wagers. 1 o'clock is just ready to kick off. Keep in mind also, both Kyle, myself, and Flash will be back tomorrow. There's a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. And no, it's against our union working rights to have to work both ahead of those doubleheaders. So we'll be tuning in for the late game as usual, 7:45 p.m. Join us then. But good luck on your wagers today. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Kyle Purviance. We are sportsbook.com. And this was Week 13 closing line